Hello, I'm Fish Krakowski. This is Nathan Martin.
I,
Hi, Nathan.
I,
Another episode of Mandalore for you. This time we're discussing Chapter 13, The Jedi.
the Jedi.
I feel like I don't even have to ask you if you like this one. Why don't you tell us why you like this one?
I mean, this actually was very simplistic story-wise. It really harkened back to some of the earlier episodes this season of like, go here, do a thing, blah blah blah, and then it kind of tipped it on its head where it's like Mando's like, yeah, I'll do that job, but secretly he was like, oh, I want to know where the Jedi is. He found the Jedi pretty quickly, and then was like, hey, I was sent here. I'm cool. I got a baby, and the baby's got a name. I thought Rosario Dawson, the makeup job that they did, she looks almost exactly like the cartoon character. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. It's, ILM and those guys doing it. But yeah, it was a very simple episode that managed to provide you with a lot of information and not in any over-explanatory way. And at the end, it was sort of like, I actually felt kind of bad because I'm like, I don't think we're ever going to see Ahsoka for a while. And now he's got to go to the temple thing and stuff like that. So, no, I just really enjoyed it. This season has been so good.
Man, very few complaints. I mean, we saw me 2 episodes kind of melt down in real time, deciding that it was okay that the Dave Filoni-verse, the cartoon universe, was going to be barging into the room and doing whatever it wanted. And this episode is certainly, it's all Filoni all the way. I mean, if you don't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn is, if you don't know to look for a little owl wherever there's Ahsoka. Did you see the owl, by the way?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's called Moray, and it's in the last scene of the Clone Wars when Darth Vader's picking up Ahsoka, as we talked about this
right
a while ago. There's a little bird flying overhead, and this bird is sort of linked with the gods of the Force, basically.
Right.
And so I was kind of watching for it, and then sure enough, like they're walking through the forest, and there's like an owl looking at you, and it turns away, kind of thing. So,
I gotta go back and look at that.
They're doing all the service for sure. But it was fun, and I think what I loved about it in a lot of ways is it did kind of get back to this source material of kind of Japanese, kind of slow-paced action adventure. Like if you think about the whole episode, it kind of is almost on a single two-dimensional line. Like if you follow his ship to the sort of Japanese garden pond, like all the action happens almost right in there, like at, wherever she takes baby Yoda, who we're now going to be calling Grogu. And Grogu right away, I'm like, I think, the internet being what it is, are going to not like it, but there's this guy named Grover. So I'm not holding this up because it's my initials, but Grover, I thought of Grover right away, and then went to Frank Oz, who did the voice of Grover and Yoda, right? So, I mean, it's a nice little touch there. Maybe Grogu is growing, whatever. I mean, you don't have to dissect absolutely everything, but honestly, like there were just some really beautiful moments and some great characters. Michael Biehn, is that how you say his name? Yeah, Michael Biehn, and I think he's kind of the secret star of this episode.
Hicks from Aliens.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, he was so good. And I mean, those moments, like that kind of last very westerny feeling chat, the boys are kind of just standing there while the women are in the garden fighting, and they're just kind of waiting to see what happens. I feel like Mando's not necessarily a good friend, but and just that kind of last like Weasley standoff where where he just basically says like, you don't these stakes aren't worth dying for, and then he goes to shoot him anyway and he gets killed. But back to Ahsoka. I mean, the moments of sort of my favorite moment in the whole episode probably has no dialogue, and it's just where Ahsoka he's still Baby Yoda, and I mean,
Yeah.
Ahsoka's just like thinking back and forth with the kid, and I
Yeah.
mean, that's so beautiful because we've been getting the sense. I mean, we've said this before too, like this shows out failed communication quite often, and it was just sort of it was good to sort of feel like he actually does know what's going on. He
Yeah.
can say things. He's actually maybe sort of just in shock, like it's PTSD. And the
Yeah.
fact that he was there probably when like Anakin went in and killed all the younglings or children, as we call them,
Yeah.
at the Jedi Temple. I mean, that plugs all of this directly into the main Star Wars freeway.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I honestly really enjoyed the episode so much. I thought that there would be like more to take away from it, but in its simplicity, it's just like you can't, like, you can go frame by frame and do that, like that kind of thing, but it's just so like when you the white lightsabers come on and you're just like, holy smokes. And she's acting like a Jedi, but also murking the heck out of everyone that's standing in her way. Doesn't use a lot of force powers though. Mostly just flipping, jumping, and lightsabering.
Yeah, well, she does this thing. She kind of
Yeah.
like does a sound distracting thing, and then when she walks away from the gate, she sort of it's almost ambiguous, but she sort of seems to become invisible.
Yeah.
Like going into the smoke, but it seems to happen a little faster than that. I don't know if that's
Yeah. That's interesting.
or whatever. But yeah, I mean, but the sense of her being cold and calm is awesome. Like
Yeah.
we're kind of trying to figure it out. Let's say she's shy of 40 now, like
Mhm.
it was about 15 or something when she was training. So she's been around the block. And I mean, there's a great moment I love on top of when she jumps up, cuts the alarm bell in half, and then like takes a guy's weapon away from him. And then he's sort of like, and then she like gives him this little get out of here, you coward. And
Yeah.
that's so much like Anakin to me. So I just
Yes.
love that they were kind of on that axis, and I was feeling the good side of Anakin and what I like about the prequels in a lot of that. So it was a pleasure, and it didn't move too quickly. And I mean, it's just nothing but sort of cliches in a way, like Mando and Ahsoka meet. Obviously, they have to fight until one of them goes, hold on. Like, it's just like every show does this. Discovery just did it recently. And even down to the Japanese sort of that pawn garden
Yeah.
sort of reminds me of Kill Bill, which takes me back to the old samurai dramas and all this stuff. We're kind of familiar, and that's kind of like a side scroller too. Again, like back to that axis, it's sort of like you're either moving down the path or you see things from the side, and I really kind of dug that. There was something old and timeless about it, not too fancy.
Because we've now run into two new groups with Ahsoka and with Bo-Katan, who Mando has met sort of in the middle of their own missions that they then have to go. Why am I talking so much with my hands? That they have to then go off.
Good TV, keep it up.
They have to then go off. And so I wonder how full circle all of that is going to come around to, either at the end of this season or at the end of the next season. Because we do know we're getting a third season. We just don't know if we're getting a fourth.
I'm sure we'll get 7, honestly, but I really believe so. But the thing is, talking about what you're talking about, which sort of where do we end up at the end of this season? I mean, we've now been dropped a really bad guy, a cartoon nerd like we are. Like Thrawn is a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
Thrawn goes all the way back to not quite the very beginning, Splinter of the Mind's Eye of the expanded universe, but I mean, like, those Timothy Zahn novels and everything.
Yeah.
Thrawn's right in there. Thrawn's been along for the ride for decades.
Mhm.
And so to kind of bring him in also brings in the end of the Rebels cartoon where he and Ezra in hyperspace and the space whales and all that stuff, like Ahsoka and Sabine were off to find Ezra at the end of that. And so, I mean, if Thrawn's around, is Ezra around? Like, what's going to happen with all of this? And then where does that take us into the sequels? And why are none of these people around in the sequels? Like, like what's all that. So I think in terms of the lore, we went really deep here. And I mean, and then the other thing I just thought of is if like they're going to planet called Tython, I think, and Tython is back to the old Republic video games, and actually so are those HK droids. But anyway,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. Whatever. Tython's a place. Robots are robots. But the if he's Ahsoka is sending him to this temple to sort of call out to the remaining Jedi. Let's not forget that the remaining Jedi, like it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, like Luke is starting a school.
Yeah.
So are we going to be seeing like a CGI Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker? I mean, that would seem to be the person who Ahsoka might send him to, unless she has an issue with, for some reason, has an issue with the Skywalker family.
I don't I don't know if they'd bring in Luke. I think they're
It's out there though. I mean, like
it's a possibility, yeah.
because in a way it feels like this universe is kind of like, oh, things are all gloomy and horrible, but you know, honestly, in the center of the galaxy, things should be kind of okay.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
this is all Outer Rim stuff, right?
yeah, it's like 35 years later we get to Force Awakens, but I don't know. Anyway, all that. So you know, the show's doing a good job of making us kind of wonder about things, but just in terms of setting and tone and the dustiness and the insects in the air and the quality of like smoggy Los Angeles light, and I just mood wise, this one was just one of my favorites by far. That destroyed forest, I was like, man, they really did a good job building that forest. And then I kept looking at it and I'm like, I wonder if they actually just went to a burned down forest somewhere. I mean, there are plenty around, but so this one felt like it was shot outside a lot, and maybe that's just good filmmaking or whatever. But yeah, I think something. It's funny. I've been watching the acting of the stunt double and feeling Pablo Pascal's frustration of maybe not being in the show. And I do wonder if we're going to get him with his helmet off a little more, like once he sort of realizes, oh wait, I'm part of this kind of cult, and maybe I don't need to do that. You know, maybe I need to have the ability to become anonymous by not wearing my superhero costume, right? Tony Stark now and then kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, just
I don't know.
It was just one of my favorite throwbacks too was the when Ahsoka slowly passes him the stone using the Force. I thought of Padme and Anakin in that weird dinner fireside scene. But I mean, I always like that scene where he passes her an apple and she grabs it with a fork. Like you really got this sense of the weight of the Force. My friend Steve Notley pointed out years ago. So, you know, and I mean, you know, it being Star Wars, probably they'll end up dating and have a child. And it'll be Rey. No way, we've covered that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just really love this one. I mean, it was. I mean, we're just kind of we're going through the motions at the top level in a certain sense. Like, can you think of something to complain about? I honestly
can't. I honestly, legitimately, I've watched it twice.
Yeah,
watch it and I just this is probably it's this season is really, it's not hard to critique, but it just feels so streamlined. And even when they add like those little tidbits of like, don't forget this is happening, don't forget this is happening, it never feels like it's in the way of something. It never feels that it's at the cost of something either. So it's just a really, really good storytelling, and it's. I'm glad we have the show, but it's basically just like this is like gush fest. You know, who knows? Maybe the next episode will be like, oh, we let you know, whoever directed it just go, and it was directed by David Lynch, and it's really weird or something like that.
Oh, man, I would give a year of my life for that. Amazing, like episode 8 of season 3 of Twin Peaks, where everybody's just like, what is that? The cool new stuff we saw, because that's one of my favorite things about Favreau's enterprise here. There's a great moment where she cuts a tree and then cuts another section and shoots the log out.
Yeah,
like great stuff like that. And just, you know, one of the reasons I was hesitant about it joining the Cartooniverse was it really always kind of was for kids, but you do she people are dying pretty good here. I mean,
Yeah.
I I think the only thing I was kind of thinking is if we wanted that magistrate to be super badass, like a pile of heads on the ground underneath those, again, awesome, really scary, kind of like, I don't know, electro tong things that those people
Yeah.
are kind of strung up on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just in all the way.
Yeah.
Boring.
It's so weird because it's just like side note, I yesterday I watched the Lego Star Wars holiday special,
Yeah.
which is just 90 minutes of, hey, do you remember this fun thing from Star Wars? And it pokes fun at itself and it's clearly made for kids. But at the end of the 90 minutes or whatever, you're just kind of sitting there going like, I really love Star Wars and I'm glad they made this. And this episode really put me in the exact same frame of like, yeah, this is what this is supposed to be. And I'm happy.
One of my favorite things is there's a guy I bring on sometimes when the movies come out, Curtis, and
Yeah.
lately he's been like excited about stuff from the prequels that they've been bringing in, and
Mhm.
he honestly really he almost has PTSD about the prequels. Like he hated them so much. We fought about them forever, but it's he's noting this too. I mean, it's just that the this show is making it all better.
Yeah.
Like, and so my fear was that to bring in the cartoons was going to somehow sully the bloodline of or something of this. But no, I mean it's been great, and I am actually excited about Bo-Katan and
Hmm.
and even Thrawn, um, and moving forward with all of it. Oh yeah, one more thing. I don't know if you have much more to say, but there was something I'm interesting here. The magistrate works for Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and you know, they could do a thing where uh, it's all like the Empire is just still one set of people. But I think it would be way more interesting if Moff Gideon and Grand Admiral Thrawn are two split offs from the Empire who don't like each other.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be cool? So you have this kind of empire on empire battle going on, because they
yeah.
would seem to have sort of different goals, and you would think, you know what I mean? Like a nation splits up and there are all these rival sects. Like look at, well, all of history. I was going to pick on some part of the world, but no, Earth. I mean,
Yeah, Earth.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited about it. And then also probably the most excited about just seeing another Loth cat. Every time there's a Loth
Yeah.
cat episode, I'm just so happy. So
They're adorable.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you
Unfu-
got anything you're looking forward to?
um, well, I mean, yeah, I'm just looking forward. I'm interested to see what the Jedi Temple is going to be like. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Baby Yoda and doing the whole thing of him reaching out to other Jedi. I just remembered that Boba Fett had a cameo at the very beginning of episode 1, and like it's if you're a fan of Star Wars, this is a great Star Wars show.
Yeah. I would say actually way better than Feige did with the Marvel Universe. This has brought Star Wars together,
Yep.
like in a seamless way. And I constantly make fun of, I'll change the number all the time, but there's basically 43 people in the Star Wars universe and they all intersect. But Mando's running right into somebody who not only had a lightsaber duel with Darth Vader, but was trained by him for several years. And, you know, this is clearly, I don't think they're going to leave anything out. Like, I
No.
think we're going to be getting some Emperor stuff pretty soon. I keep thinking that it's probably something kind of Snoky in those test tubes in the last episode. So
Yeah.
I just think it's all coming together, and and that isn't necessarily exciting, like it in itself, but
Hmm.
if they do it right, it's great.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember in in Revenge of the Sith, it's like, okay, they're on the Tantive 4 at the beginning of Star Wars, and then they all sort of the same ship essentially at the end of Rogue One, which you just watched.
Yeah.
But you know, if you get there in an interesting way, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. Can't wait for next week.
All right. Well, we'll see you then.
All right.
So agreeable. I know we're supposed to be short 2020. Should be a fire behind us or something. But
I wish I could hate something about the episode. There's nothing there.
Let's try and that's our homework assignment. We'll find something we didn't like next week and bring it up. All right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, this is the way. See you soon.
This is the way.